Yeah, we had an earthquake, folks, in Alaska, 7.3 magnitude in the Aleutian Islands, just south of Sand Point, Alaska. And we saw plenty of damage with that. No major damage, but a lot of shaking. And you can see different areas. If you scrolled up and down X this morning or this afternoon, whenever you're watching this video, check it out. You'll see a lot of footage there, a lot of shaking like this. And there's your earthquake, 7.3 south of Sand Point. It was very shallow. A lot of people felt it up and down the Aleutian Islands. As a matter of fact, there's the epicenter right here. There was a tsunami warning, but fortunately no tsunami. It occurred in shallow water, and a lot of times in these earthquakes near the ocean, you have a big landslides that displace a lot of water. You get a tsunami, or they occur in deep water and the ocean floor is lifted up. It pushes tons of water up, and that's what we saw happen in 2004 on Boxing Day when we had that big Indonesian 9.3 earthquake. Water rose 30 feet and inundated, some of those waves were 30 feet, and they inundated some of those coastlines, killed a lot of people, did a lot of damage. We didn't see that this time, fortunately. But that's what we do here, folks. We cover everything that might affect you where you are. Earthquakes, volcanoes, asteroids, meteorites, and tsunamis, of course, in addition to severe weather and tropical weather, which we're going to have on the docket today. But that's why you subscribe here. Be sure and subscribe to the channel. Send friends, acquaintances over here. We cover everything. Make sure you're aware and know what's going on for the full weather picture. And so we're going to get back into space weather and our geological update at the end of the show to see if there's anything else going on. But be sure you're subscribed here, and give the video a like, leave a comment if there's anything I can pray over for you about. Happy to do that. Just let me know in the comments section. But right now we're going to continue our Weather IQ Question Moon series and see if you know full moons. I've got a couple of more to share with you. One right now. All right, you're going to know everything there is to know about the moon by the time we're done with our question series set here. And today's question is, what is the first full moon in December called? Is it a rabbit moon, owl moon, frost moon, or cold moon? If you know the answer, type it in the comment section. If you don't know it, just wait till the end of the show and I will reveal it to you. Then you can send all of your friends over to Cold Rain's Weather World and tell them what kind of fun we're having here and what we're learning. So looking forward to that. In the meantime, we're going to check in on the tropics and then get on down the road with the severe weather threat out there today, because we've got a few areas that are going to see severe weather this afternoon. So really not much cooking out in the tropics, at least right now. We've got one area of disturbed weather that went from a lemon to an orange back to a lemon again. 30% chance of cyclone formation. It's really not going to form, I don't believe, because it's interacting with land. It's what we've been watching all week. There it is, and not much going on with it, as you can tell from the satellite picture, which we're going to look at in a minute anyway. But it is raining. It's bringing a lot of rain here to Louisiana. I've already seen a few inches of rainfall and a few more inches expected. Hard to really see all of this, but this bright red is right along the coast. That is 3 to 4 inches of rain. The purples are 1.5 to 2 inches or so, and the blues really 0.5 up to 1.5 inches or so. So that's what we're looking at. Another big area of flooding concerns up here. This is not tropical in nature, but we're going to see an area of thunderstorms move through, repeated areas of thunderstorms squeezing out a lot of rain in the Ohio Valley up into the lower mid-Atlantic, call it. And so we'll see several inches of rain up there too. But tropical air mass is in place across much of the southeastern United States. There's that disturbance. You can see these high clouds. Most of these are offshore, so a lot of the rain is offshore. We've seen a lot of rain push through this area of Louisiana this morning, the southern third of it, and it is moving into western Louisiana. This thing is going to shoot up like that and present all of its moisture into the lower Mississippi Valley. As a matter of fact, here we'll take a look. Let's go to our tropical tidbits display, because that's what we're looking at, tropical tidbits. There's the European, and it sort of takes the center here, if you can call it a very ragged center, up into western Louisiana, and then really just sort of dissipates things and just sends all the moisture in here. There's got a ridge that's building in and a couple of little disturbances moving through. They'll capture some of that moisture, but we're going to see in a few minutes how this moist air mass resides over the southeastern United States, really the Central Plains as well. But we're going to look at all of that in a minute. But you can see all of that moisture kind of gets absorbed and eventually will present itself in terms of showers and thunderstorms scattered throughout the day. If we look here at the rest of the development region, you can see waves coming off of Africa. There's one there. There's another wave out here in the Atlantic, another little disturbance here, but this is what we're kind of watching for later on down the road. Nothing imminent with this, but anytime waves start to come off of Africa, we get that wave train going, see tropical development out in time. That's what we're going to watch as we go on out in terms of the Eastern Atlantic. Well, here's the redoubtable GFS, folks, doing what GFS things doing GFS things. That's what we'll call it, and it's doing what it likes to do. Look at this. Nothing going on as of Monday morning, and we just roll this along. But what's happening as we get on into mid next week? Look, a little closed area out here in the southwestern Atlantic, finding some moisture and finding a boundary, as the GFS often likes to do. There it is. It's just eventually, look what happens. Eventually, it's starting to close a few contours off here as we get on into next weekend. And then there it comes, a low pressure, a tropical depression, maybe a low-end tropical storm into eastern North Carolina. None of the other models agree with this, as you would probably expect if you watch this show quite a bit, but there's the GFS doing GFS things, and it is something obviously that we will want to watch anytime you've got a boundary hanging off the coast and some energy there. We are going to keep our eye on it, and we could see a spin up, but I don't know, just because the GFS says so doesn't make it so, but it's something to watch. So I wanted to show it to you. Now we're going to take a look at the severe weather threat, because we do have a couple of areas that could see tornadoes and hail and wind this afternoon, and we're going to look at that right now. A lot of clouds out there as we're working toward midday. I'm recording this video. It's about 10:30 in the morning. A lot of clouds up here in the Great Lakes, up into New England, stretching all the way back through the nation's midsection of the Four Corners region. Got some energy out here that's going to help spark off some rain later today. Energy north of the Canadian border going to help to create a severe threat potentially up here in Montana. There's our tropical disturbance. A lot of flow around this. See clouds associated with that. Rain and thunderstorms in Louisiana. Plenty of moisture on the backside of that up here into the southeast. Plenty of clouds around the southeast too. And you've got a line of showers and thunderstorms. Southern Kansas, central Missouri, just south of Kansas City, working in toward Tulsa and places like that, in central Oklahoma, Wichita. And so we're seeing plenty of rain out there with those areas of clouds. Lot of warm temperatures from New England all the way back into the southern plains, where we're finding 80s and then upper 90s in here in the southeast. Heat advisories up. It's going to feel nasty out here. Western portion of the country, hot as well. Very, very cool. 20 degrees below normal up here in the central plains. Look at this. 60s in the Dakotas. That'll be swinging east tomorrow into Minnesota along this frontal boundary as it continues to push off. We'll see cooling in the northeast too, and eventually cooling in the northwest as the system works in out there. Air quality much, much better up here in the Great Lakes. Hopefully you guys can breathe again. Breathe some fresh air for a while. Denver and places in western Colorado still dealing with some wildfire smoke there, and got a lot of yellow, but that's not too bad. And there's your hazards map, or your alerts map today. Various flood watches up around portions of the country. We're going to see a lot of precipitation over the next 7 days in the Midwest and Ohio Valley, so we'll probably see some flooding potential in those areas. West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, and back into these areas, southern Louisiana, of course, where we're dealing with heavy rain this morning with this associated with that tropical disturbance, and then northeastern New Mexico too. So air quality alerts around Denver, and then red flag warnings. Hot, dry, don't burn, it's windy out here, and plenty of heat advisories in this, and then basically the mid-Atlantic up here into the eastern seaboard and over in the lower Mississippi Valley. That's where our heat advisories are today, and I expect more of those over the coming days. Severe weather threat located in a couple of specific areas this afternoon in terms of organized severe weather. Northern, northeast, and then a little corridor through central, basically central Montana here, where we're finding plenty of cool air aloft. Going to see some hailers this afternoon, a couple of supercells there. Marginal risk around that, marginal risk along our boundary back to the panhandle of Texas and the lower Ohio Valley. But that's where we're looking for the biggest corridor of severe weather, isolated to widely scattered there. But that could see a couple of tornadoes up here today in New England with a system working in. Weak supercell is going to form. We're going to see potential some spin in the atmosphere. So wind is going to be the main threat, but tornadoes not out of the question up there, so stay attuned to the weather and keep your alert device handy. It could be a phone, weather radio, what have you. Just have a way to receive those alerts. And then there's your hail threat back here in Montana. Tomorrow, we're looking at two main areas of severe weather. A marginal risk right now, isolated, widely scattered here in the Central Plains. Could see a few hailers here, but really looking for wind. We're going to see an organized area of thunderstorms, a couple of supercells, maybe drop a tornado or two, form into clusters and line segments, wind picking up. I would not surprise me to really see this area take off tomorrow. When it came to severe weather, we might get a slight risk here. So back into most of Virginia and northern North Carolina tomorrow. Northeastern North Carolina, you can see some wind there as well. Looking at the radar this afternoon, how that's all going to play out. Got that corridor of rain through Missouri right now and down into Louisiana, but as we go through the afternoon, we start to see showers fire along the boundary. Heavy rain with these 2 and 3 inch per hour rainfall rates. Same again in Louisiana. Rain in Florida and the southeast popping up into the lee of the Rockies back here in New Mexico and Colorado, seeing thunderstorms pop up. Here comes a disturbance as we get on toward late afternoon into the early evening hours into Montana, and supercells and clusters firing up here in New England. So watch out this afternoon in those areas. See that supercell starting to fire up here in Montana. A couple of those drop some big hail up here as we go on through the afternoon, and the boundary will be the focus for showers and thunderstorms into the evening and overnight. Things will kind of die out, except potentially this cluster may maintain itself through North Dakota. We may see that slight risk expanded as we go through the nighttime hours this afternoon, if that continues to look like that on future modeling. Tomorrow, Friday, general showers and thunderstorms through the southeast. Again, localized flash flooding possible. Plenty of thunderstorms in the front range of the Rockies. Monsoon season underway out here in the southwest. There comes another cluster in through the Midwest, and you can see it getting its act together as we get into the late evening hours tomorrow, into the overnight hours. We could see some thunderstorms develop through Iowa and in the Midwest here, and drop some severe weather, potentially wind in those areas. And so that's what we've got going on, folks, and we're going to see that flash flooding threat continue in several areas, mainly in this corridor as we go on out in time. In the meantime, Louisiana is still a good threat for flash flooding down there with the tropical system moving. And that's your severe weather threat. We're going to take a look at that weekend outlook next and see what your weekend has in store. Temperature is not too bad to round out the work week. 60s up here in northern Minnesota, from the Twin Cities north up to International Falls and Duluth. You're in the 60s and 70s across much of the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. May have to sacrifice some sunshine for some of those temperatures, though, particularly as we get on in to the Northeast. But look at this, 80s and 90s, hot, 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 hot across the South into the Central Plains and Southwest, interior Northwest. Going to see heat advisories continue for a lot of these areas as it's very humid as well. Same sort of pattern, getting a little bit hotter in the Central Plains, starting to cool off in the Northwest as a trough works in up there, warming up a little bit here in the Northern Plains and the Midwest. Not seeing as many 60s around, but still 70s is pleasant for this time of year, warming up a little bit more, but still plenty of 70s across the north, getting hotter across the south, hundreds now into the Central Plains as we get into Sunday, and of course the desert Southwest always in the hundreds, and a little bit cooler up here in the Northwest too. That's your temperature profile. If you've got any outdoor plans, you know what to prepare for temperature wise. In the east and southeast of the Rockies and south of the Great Lakes, we're going to see lots and lots and lots of moisture in the air. Some of that's being brought in or infused from that tropical disturbance in the south, but there's still plenty of moisture. This is a very tropical air mass. It's going to feel ugly outside, hot, humid. You're going to sweat just as soon as you walk out the door. These reds are pretty extreme values as we get on into Monday. That's through the weekend, Monday into Tuesday. We start to see some of that get displaced. Some of those reds get displaced farther and farther into the southeast, and that should be the case over time for the most part. This is the European ensembles. It sort of smooths this out. Now we'll see little disturbances come in and bring more moisture in and out, but as a general rule, the tropical air mass is going to be confined down here, eastern Texas, south of the Great Lakes, and into the lower mid-Atlantic. Still plenty of moisture around to the north of that, but the really bad air is going to be down here. It's going to be thick, thick, thick as we go on out through the next 2 weeks, and eventually maybe we see a little bit of reduction in at that toward the end of the period. But here's your forecast for Saturday, starting the day off with plenty of showers around, a couple of complexes moving through, hold together through the nighttime hours on Friday. So we're starting here in the Ohio Valley in the Midwest with showers and thunderstorms, and that'll just continue through the afternoon as disturbances move along in the flow northwest to southeast, and that'll continue. See some isolated showers and scattered showers in the southeast. Another disturbance coming in the flow up here in the northern plains, front range of the Rockies, seeing showers and thunderstorms we get on out into Sunday. In overnight hours Saturday into Sunday, we're starting to see some of that pull in. So we wake up time in New England, going to see showers, maybe hear a couple of rumbles of thunder. New disturbance working through the Ohio Valley again, Mississippi Valley, and on into the southeast will provide thunderstorms for Saturday and Sunday afternoon both. And so we'll see plenty of those around, and so could see a few more rumbles of thunder in the evening hours Sunday in the northern plains. Maybe see an organized severe weather threat up there too. So that's your weekend forecast, folks. You know how to plan. Hope you've got some good plans, but just may have to dodge some showers for much of the weekend in the Ohio Valley up into the northeast with scattered activity pretty much everywhere else. Now, out in time, we've got a big pattern change underway. We're going to look at that right now. Here's our pattern. We've been looking at this every day. This is starting this weekend, Friday, and look at this, just a big ridge over the southeast, locking that tropical moisture in place. We've got a little trough working into the Pacific Northwest, cooling you off up there as we get into early next week. But we roll this out in time. Look at this big ridge just building in, big bright orange colors over the east. Those will translate east. We get into next weekend, we're starting to see that ridge axis move to the center of the country and back toward the west. And really the whole country fills up with orange. It's going to be hot pretty much everywhere, centered in the central portion of the country back to the west, with the exception of maybe the northeast and getting into the mid-Atlantic, but everywhere else is going to be at or above normal. Looking at model precipitation, this is the European, and I'm showing the operational run through the period just to give you an idea of what the flow is going to look like. Watch this. 24-hour rainfall totals, okay? So watch how this moves as we go on out in time through the weekend. There's all your rain coming through the Ohio Valley into the northeast, scattered showers everywhere else, another little system coming in. So you're going to see flow coming in from up here. Generally, it's going to be up here to down this way. That's where our flow trajectory is going to be in terms of entering into the United States, okay? Watch this. There it is, goes across. We get a little couple of systems up here going across the border too, but you see several systems kind of working southeast as we go through time. And you see that? Just kind of dart down to the southeast. That's because that ridge, on the back side of that ridge, there's a trough over in the eastern portion of the country, and that's where the thunderstorms are going to move, thunderstorm complexes. You may see flooding threats over the same places too. Watch this. I'm going to do this fast. Look, so you can see how those things kind of dart down. That's our precipitation pattern up here in the Midwest down into the upper southeast, and may see a few, clouds and showers down here in Florida and disturbances off the coast from time to time, and we'll watch that for tropical development. Here's our 850 millibar temperatures. This gives you a good proxy of what temperatures are going to be at the surface relative to normal. This is 5-day increments. And as we roll this out in time, you can see where the big heat builds over time. We're not seeing a lot of the country at all, maybe the northwest and the northeast at or below normal. And that's what we're looking at, folks. And that's what we have for the long range. We're going to wrap up now with space weather, see what's going on with the sun, and see if there's any other earthquake problems we need to deal with. Well, although it appeared that we were a little too far south to be affected by this southern coronal hole on the sun, which is now turning away, it did manage to brush us with enhanced solar wind, putting us in minor geomagnetic storm conditions, G1 conditions. You can see that yellow bar here on the KP index. That is turning away. A new transequatorial coronal hole is turning toward us, and it will affect us over the next 4 or 5 days with enhanced solar wind, so we could see G1 or G2 storm conditions. I'll be watching for that. There is a sunspot that is turning toward us. It is not complex. We've got positive out front, negative charges behind. We need those interspersed to have a risk of a solar flare. Several other sunspots on the disk as well. This is the one we were looking at. These other ones have grown, but they've turned away, and a few more incoming. I'll keep my eyes on it, and we'll let you know if there's any good aurora viewing in our future or anything else. Not much else going on the earthquake front. You can see here blank slate over North America. We'll watch for aftershocks or anything else. Got an earthquake swarm still happening off the coast of Japan, but nothing else going on. Thank goodness there. No tsunamis, no volcanoes, no new ones going off anyway. 55.2% moon. We are at a third quarter going down to new moon on July the 24th. And through July the 17th through August the 24th, I believe, the Perseid meteor shower is going to be available in the sky for your viewing pleasure keep an eye on it. It'll peak around August 12th or 13th, but that'll be during full moon time. And the best time to catch those meteors is in the morning, the way the Earth's orbit and the way we kind of spin around. That'll be where we're on the dark side, but leading. See, here's the meteors up here, we're leading and running into them, as opposed to having the meteors kind of follow the Earth. It makes it a little easier to see more meteors because they impact the Earth's atmosphere a little bit of at a higher rate in the pre-dawn hours. Just something to note, but keep your eyes on those. Unfortunately, the peak will be contaminated by a full moon. But speaking of full moons, that brings us into the answer to today's Weather IQ question, which was the first full moon in December is called what? The answer is the cold moon. Can you guess why it's called the cold moon? Probably because it's cold that time of year, and that's exactly right. If that's what you thought, you're exactly right on that. So there we have it, folks. One more thing to know about: on this day, July the 17th, 1955, Walt Disney Land officially opened. Walt Disney opened Disneyland in Anaheim, California, following a $17 million year-long construction project. They only took a year to construct it. I found that interesting. The park welcomed 1 million visitors in just its first 10 weeks. So now you know about Walt Disneyland, and you know about the moon and the rest of the weather. Hope you've had an enjoyable show today. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. In the meantime, I hope you have a blessed afternoon. And as always, Cold Rain reminding you, other stations run 24/7. We got you covered right here, right now. 4814. Take care, folks. Have a good afternoon.